Hello and welcome back to 1000 Details. Today I got here the Sonicware LoFi-12XT. Maybe you know it, maybe you don't, but this is a small sampler which has a very particular thing, which is a 12-bit sound engine. It is made to sound 12-bit, like the old Akai's S700 and many other old-school samplers back from the 80s and the 90s. First, I have to thank my friends at Microfuse Spain, which they also lended me this unit to try it out and to ride it and see how it feels and what it does. So big shout out to them, and if you're in Spain or Portugal, give them a look at their store. They have very cool stuff. It is. So back at it, Sonicware is a Japanese company. I think it's a one-man company, or maybe a very small company. And they've been doing this very affordable pieces of gear, which they are quite interesting. Of course, we can say that the build quality is the best premium ever. No, but for the price point they offer, it's quite enjoying and quite pleasing, to be honest. And the LoFi-12XT is basically the junction of the LoFi 12, which is a 4-track sampler in their different format, and the sample track that they released, I think, 1 or 2 years ago, which is like a Game Boy, basically. And I look at this and it feels a Game Boy. The red 2 buttons and the crosspad and the D-pad over here. And even the format, it really feels like a Game Boy. Needless to say, this is a unit that was made to be used portably. So it has a battery case in it, or you can use normal DC output to this. In my case, I'm here trying my good friends from my Volts, their battery and their rip cords, powering this unit, and I've been using it for, I don't know, maybe 6-7 hours, and it's still lasting and it's still going. So this is a good thing. This is drawing like nothing. Like it says here, it's drawing 2 watts playing, so 2 watts is nothing. So it means that the batteries here will last a long time. Now, what I'm going to do today with this, I was just curious about this piece of gear. And why I was curious? Because I've seen a lot of different comments about Sonicware. People love it, people hate it, people say it's toys, people say it's very good, it's professional. I don't know, it's a very mixed feeling. And nothing better than having a unit for yourself and test it out. What I'm gonna do is explain a little bit how it functions, compare it to other samplers in the market, and show you what I've done here. I have made 2 patterns, of course Techno, using my own samples over here, and explain the process how I arrived here. So sit back and enjoy. Let's start this. Okay, so let's talk about the architecture of the LoFi-12XT. There's a few videos around the YouTube and internet, but yeah, they explain pretty much what is happening here, so I'm going to do a fast resume. So basically you have 8 tracks on the sampler that you can use as 24-bit or 12-bit, which is very cool. I'm using this fully 12-bit because I love the sound of a 12-bit generation of gear. It sounds crusty, it sounds gnarly, and it gives character to music and to sound elements. So I love that. But basically you have 8 tracks. Each track has set effects that you can choose from a list. you have your normal envelope, and you have a delay and reverb send and return that you can send each of the tracks. You have 2 LFOs per track, which is very cool. You have a filter, pretty basic filter with a low pass, high pass, and band pass. You have your sound selection, which it can be mono, poly. It does poly up to 20 voices in this small box, which is super cool. And you can also do slice mode and random, which, well, it's somewhat normal of samplers nowadays. And you got your config normal stuff with the length of your sequence, the time division, and all of that. Plus, you have a mixer section where you see pretty much all of your tracks. You see their volumes. You can adjust per track here immediately the levels, the panning, and the returns, which is very cool. You have a master effects on this. You can choose between a compressor and a filter. That's also a very nice addition. And you can use the pad system, or a pad menu, which turns the pads over here as a keyboard for you to play chromatically your samples. And the other thing that I think it's cool, and it's really helpful, because, for example, I am a person who jams a lot, and this is very cool, which is what they call the tape cassette mode, or the recorder mode, which emulates cassettes from like type 1, type 2, ADAT, and you can record up to 3 hours your session, which is very cool if you ask me, because you can basically take this to the sofa, traveling, the airplane, whatever you choose to take this with, and you just record your jams there, and you get a track pretty much done. How does this work? And a few quirky things here. Cool thing is that it's an SD card that goes up to 32 gigabytes at maximum memory ceiling, so you cannot go above that. So you can load up whatever you want there. Each project has 256 sample slots, or up to 64 megabytes, which is pretty much enough, if you ask me, especially if you put this as 12 bits or downgrade it, you'll have more space, or use the old technique of sampling at 45 RPMs and then put it back to 33. That also works. It will shrink your file size. And a thing that is, well, it is a little bit quirky as well, but I get it, and it's a safe mechanism. So if you want to import your sounds over here, you put them on your SD card, and then you have to have the LoFi 12XT convert those sounds to I think somewhat special format happening here. And after it's converted, you can use them. I tried to convert on the computer. I sent here a 24-bit 44.1 sample. It didn't read it immediately. I had to convert it. But the process was kind of fast. Like for 1,500 samples, it took about 5 minutes, more or less 5 minutes. And for me, it took longer because I converted to 12 and 24, so it took 10 minutes. Other than that, it's pretty easy. And what I like a lot about this machine, especially because I am an Electron fanboy. You've seen my videos, I use the Digitact all the time. I'm pretty comfortable on the Electron workflow. So it's basically very similar. So each menu here just need to press, like you can select your track, either, mute. You can select it the normal way, or you just press function and you change track without sounding, which is very cool if you're performing live or jamming or whatever. And then each track has their own menu. So the config menu, sound menu, which allows you to set up a little bit the sound engine, and put it at 12-bit. So if you want to put your sound 12-bit because it's originally 24, it will do it for you, which is amazing. The sound browser here, it's super nice, if you ask me. Pretty much like you just press the encoder here, and you can pick whatever you want. It's super easy. It's very visible. You can preview your sounds. so nothing that crazy. You have here all your stuff over here, which is cool. You have your pool here, and you can come to tags, and it'll be your sample pool where you can search stuff using, like, okay, I just want some vocals or some synthesizers or just kicks. It'll make very fast to use this. Other than this, what do we have here that is kind of cool? Filter is low pass, high pass, and band pass with an envelope tied over here that you can configure. Works pretty decent. It is a little bit strange because sometimes when you have the cutoff, like for having, like, I'll show you. If I have my high pass like this, it almost sounds like nothing. If I have it like this, it's like an almost normal high pass. So it is a little bit strange, but other than that, it works pretty well. Like you can shape your sounds very easily. The LFOs, you have two LFOs right here, which is super cool. You just change them pressing twice the button. So you have a lot of destinations. Not all of them are covered, but the main ones are here. It's more than enough. It is a bit of a pity that you cannot go past, I think it's 30 hertz, but okay, it's something. At least you have two. Your amp page, where you set up your envelopes, you have an ASR and AR envelope that you can choose, volumes and pannings, and the send returns. And you have here a nice selection of effects. It's like you have chorus, flanger, phaser, another delay, vibrato, auto wah, tremolo, ring mod, detune, overdrive, crusher, lo-fi, lower pass, blah, blah, blah. Have here a ton of effects that are and can be used real time, which is super good. You don't need to process them or anything. Like, it's all in real time, and they do sound good. They are very competent, if you ask me. And then you have your master effects, like the delay and the reverb, which you can configure each one over here, and set the amount of stuff that you have that you want to be affected by it. And the thing is, it works like Electron, because I just turn on my record, I put my steps that I want to put in. If I have record pressed on and I record and I'm moving any of these spots, it will record those automations, which is very cool. You can even do P-locks like Electron, like those. In this case, if you see here, the red LEDs, they are my steps, so my kick. And the yellow ones are basically the steps that I P-locked, so they're going into another sound. Like, see, it changed to a mid-tom. And just like Electron. So if you're used to that, this will be very fast to get used. Plus you have here your D-pad, which allows you to control a lot of stuff in the menus, and your OK and clear, which is yes and no, so to speak, as in Electron, and your tempo menu, which is over here. And as way of using it, that's basically it. It really works well. Add-ons, cool add-ons that you have that you can use in the LoFi 12XT. Before we jump to a small track that I did, that I will explain to you how I did it. You have inbuilt speaker, which is, it is what it is. It's fun, gives you an idea, but doesn't sound high quality, of course. You cannot ask much from this. You have a microphone over here, which you can record your voice or anything that you want to record over a microphone. You have two inputs in the back to record from line, and you can even use USB to record from a computer, which is very cool and a nice addition, especially if you want to sample, like, let's say, YouTube stuff. You can do it via USB. And the only thing is, when you record stuff here, you then have to use a web app from Sonicware to then convert the files to be normal waves, if I am not mistaken. A little extra step, but nothing that crazy. It's perfectly doable, and I don't think it's a bad thing. So let's dive into the track part, and I'll show you. Okay, so I had the first track playing. I have another pattern over here, and quite similar in a way. So I'm gonna start to mute all of this. Oops, it was already muted. So yellow is muted, white is selected, green is on. Let's remove our mute or leave it. And I've here used a mix of one-shot samples and a few loops. The machine does stretch stuff to fit in your tempo, so it's really cool. It is not as comprehensive as an Akai or a Digitact in terms of the control you can have, like warping or stuff like that, but it works pretty well. You don't need to go very crazy. Like I was able to use all my sounds I use on Digitact here without any issue. There seems to be zero crossing. I haven't felt any clicks or anything as compared like in the current Digitact 2 firmware, which I need to implement the zero crossing, which is coming. So it really works well. For the people who had the sample track before, yeah, I know when it came out, it had a lot of issues on the firmware and it was not fully completed and stuff. With this one, I haven't felt anything wrong, and I have updated this to the latest version, which only adds a few extra things, like you can pitch your, now instead of cents, you can pitch with normal transpose values like 1 to 12, like semitones, which is cool. But other than that, it worked very well. Only thing that I haven't done here is using song mode, because I never use song mode, and honestly I'm not a fan of song mode. It doesn't make sense for me, so I'm gonna pass that ahead. So let's start this, and let's start by the kick. So over here I got my kick, and to make use of the 8 tracks and try to bulk as much as I could to do a track that I was pleased with, I use the kick normally in the red steps, and this again are my toms, okay? So I p-lock them to other sounds, just as you can do on the Digitact, so very simple. And of course 12-bit mode on, which it's what makes sense. No filtering, no modulation, a little bit of arrangement over here on the envelope, and you can see that I've changed the volume and the envelope on some steps, which again is a p-locks. And I don't have any effects here, and yeah, and it's all clean. Second part comes, it's the bass line. Let's unmute it. Here we have our bass line, so it's a loop, a looped one. In this case, I just repitch it to where I was happy with it and filter it a little bit. No modulation again. Here, nothing as well, it's clean. And on the effects, I use this sound maximizer, which boosts certain frequencies that you select with the pods over here. Pods encoders, actually, they're small encoders. Nothing crazy, sounds good, sounds where I want it to be. And I'm gonna jump to track 3, which is my clap. So let's go to track 4. Track 4, normal 909 closed hi-hats. So a little bit of modulation, sorry, of modeling of this, so cutting a little bit of the extra low end part of it. Again, always 12-bit. So here on the high-pitch sounds, the 12-bit really shines because you get that extra crunch on the high end, which is really cool. The modulation, my envelope, we are sending the hats to the master delay, so as you're hearing this. And I also use the X maximizer here to give a little bit of a boost on the higher end of the hi-hats. So it has a little bit more of air in the track, so they breathe, right? Now, first loop here. Let's go back to sound. Simple loop. This one, what I did is when you're selecting here your parameters, so this is the sound that you want to use. This will be the start and ending point, or if you press it will be a zoom. The cool thing here is that you can tell it to time stretch to a specific measure. So this is a 1 bar loop, so I tell him, well, time stretch this for 1 bar, and it's fitting perfectly. Sounds as good as it should sound, and here it is. Filtering. So this is what I want to show you, like, oops. This is where my filter is at 18. if I do this, it really becomes, I don't know, it's strange. I think it applies too much. Maybe the graphics here are a little bit off, but thing is, graphics is just a visual guide. What I care is what it sounds, so there's no issue with that at all. And I have my envelope here going on and on to give it a little extra movement. Again, no modulation here. I didn't use modulation at this time. Pretty much basic, delay and reverb sending, and no effects whatsoever in this loop. Now, let's go to track number 6, another loop. This kinds of, I don't know, even percussion, bongos, whatever this is. Filtering as well to shape it, no modulation, a little tiny bit of reverb, and I added a chorus here to give it that typical chorus feeling to those bongos over here. And then, well, I think we can go over here. My claps. And now the synth, which is a one-shot chord that I have here. And it has the envelope for the filter going on. Plus, there's some modulation over here that is going to the filter frequency as well. It's very easy to assign a modulation here. You just click the fourth encoder or encoder D, and you just select where you want it to send, the speed, the depth, and the shape of your LFO. Very easy, very nice to use. There's not much like, okay, you have some few extra stuff here, like the phasing, if the trigger it's affecting or not. So it's pretty basic. Like, all controls are over here. There's not much. There's menus, but there's no menu diving. Let's put it this way. And amp, sending my stuff as well. I have the detune, and here is my filter, which I intend to use to play with. And it's just an idea of a track, but it works. It really works. So I was going for something that has like a good pace, like and basically I'm doing this with my kick, with the toms, like that, this extra I don't know, drive groove to it. And of course the like, we can, nothing special as a bass line, as you can hear, just doing its thing, but it adds up with this. And yeah, what I like the most about this unit is the fact that it sounds, let's put it this way, it sounds really good to me. It sounds as a sampler should sound, because I'm used to the older sound of the samplers. But it sounds good, and it was very fast to do this. I come from the electron side, so this becomes very easy. And voila! It's a track. I could record this and it will be a track for sure. I've made worse on supposedly better gear, so it doesn't mean nothing. So, final conclusions, pros and cons about this. It's a small unit, it's portable if you like portable stuff and run on batteries, or get a solution like the Repcard that I have here that's powering this for at least 7 hours now. It's pretty good. The screen size, I love its yellow, honestly. It's the Digitact MK1 nostalgia, but I love its yellow. It's more than usable. It's really made as an electron machine, so you have your pods to controlling each stuff happening around here. Everything is on the screen, so A controls what, B controls what, C, D controls what. Sequencer is good enough. You have parameter locks, you have modulation or automation recording from live recording, which is really cool. The pads feel nice. Something I haven't said, the pads are velocity sensitive. I'm not using that option here. I'm not much of a fan of using sensitive to velocity pads. I don't dig it, sorry. But you can, and it works really well. Despite being a little bit stiff, because I think this is a new unit. They're a little bit stiff because it's new. It feels new. With some playing around here, you'll get them fluffy or even better to use. And for the price point, I think this is around 380 euros, at least here in Europe, which is a third of the price, almost a third of the price of a Digitact 2 or many other samplers like as the Akai 1. It's a very cool choice, if you ask me. Is this comparable to a Digitact to an Akai? In a way, yes, for sure. It's not as fully flexed and capable in terms of expansion, I guess, but it fights off with them. It has a lot of cool features, which is amazing. Like if you compare this to the first Digitact, it has much more sample slots and much more memory, and it's a no-brainer. Like, cool unit. And yeah, for me, the appealing point, or the two appealing points, is the 12-bit sound capability. I love that thing to death. I really do. And the portability, size, and ease of use, because I come from the Electron camp, and this makes it easy. Cons, well, the speaker is just a gimmick over here. I don't know if it was possible or not, but I will add a warping machine here, or algorithm, because it will make a lot of sense. At least for me, the way that I'm used to work. So I will be fine in the Electron and Akai world. Over here, with a little bit of tricks there and there, you can make stuff work. It has MIDI, it has line-ins for recording. There's not much things that I can say that are bad, honestly. It has its own market, it has its own niche, but it's a fully usable sampler. Like, don't get fooled by the Game Boy aspect toy-like thing. It's really a capable machine. I took this, and from the hours that I've been trying and experimenting and reading the manual a little bit, I can say that I was having a lot of fun. But more than that, I was just discovering what does this offer. It's really cool. Do I need one? No, I don't need, because I have the Digitact. I have two Digitacts, one and two. But for sure, if you're looking for more budget sampler, which is usable, I recommend this for sure. Guys, as usual, if you like what I'm doing, like and subscribe to the channel. I have some affiliate links below that will help me. If you get something, you don't pay extra for it, but it will help me a little bit extra. And check my Patreon as well. You can find a lot of stuff there that I keep posting. That's all from me today, and see you soon.